found a tube, and the minute I opened it, the smell transported me through time.
This One's Wife, the Faux Saviour. Did it really happen? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. This One's Wife has utilised social media, her Instagram account, for the pursuit of the prime aims. By making her fourth post since she returned to social media, she has posted a video which apparently shows an act of kindness that she likes to tell the world about, with the expectation that it will be picked up by media as a whole and that people will react to see that she is relatable. Once upon a time she was told to be more royal, so her and the Prince of Pink Pancakes pissed off around the world, going to Nigeria and Colombia, but it didn't work. The cynics continued to criticise along with those aspects within social media and mainstream media. Naturally, This One's Wife and Harry, unable to recognise that it's their behaviour that makes them unpopular, decided, OK, pretending to be royal didn't work. We'll cure this problem, be more relatable. And so This One's Wife returns to social media and seeks to make herself relatable by appearing in jeans and sweat top and telling everybody about what a lovely person she is, because she spoke to her mother and her daughter, who were victims of the LA wildfires, and realised that the daughter had lost her Billie Eilish t-shirt. As a consequence of this, This One's Wife, brimming with emotional empathy, was apparently motivated to pull strings as a consequence of her extensive power reach to ensure that a load of merch was obtained relating to Billie Eilish that could then be provided to said teenager. All hail This One's Wife. Isn't she wonderful and kind? But it then raises the question, did it happen? Now, there may be some of you that would think, that's unnecessarily cynical, HG. But it isn't. It isn't unnecessarily cynical because this woman is a narcissist, which means that there is a version of the truth that serves the purposes, that when she tells lies, she believes them to be true. That is the warped perspective with which she sees the world. But there's also aspects of what she says that don't quite ring true. As I made mention of in the earlier video, she explains that the catalyst for her to want to make a difference, to show up and do good by organising this merchandise for the teenager, was because the mother and the teenager had lost their house. And in so doing, the washing machine or dryer had burnt, which included a Billie Eilish t-shirt that the teenager had got from a recent Billie Eilish concert that she had attended. The first point is, how on earth would she know this? Well, the short answer is, well, she knew this because she spoke to the mother and the daughter. But how? My understanding is that in relation to these wildfires, the victims were not allowed back to their homes. This would be for reasons of safety and crowd control. That makes sense that they wouldn't be allowed back. Indeed, I understand that some of them complained about the fact that the authorities would not let them return to what remained of their properties. Accordingly, when This One's Wife was engaging in being a disaster tourist and a grief ghoul, how on earth could she meet this mother and her daughter if the victims were not allowed to the property? We saw pictures of This One's Wife and Harry wandering around amongst the ashes of properties, trespassing. Quite why they were allowed to do that remains a mystery. After all, they're not people who are politicians. They're not orchestrating a rescue effort. They were just there as tourists. It might be the case that they spoke to these individuals elsewhere, but the way that the story is given by This One's Wife, it's as if she spoke to them at the property. And therefore, that does call into question whether that could actually happen given the fact that no victims were allowed back to the properties. Now, it might be it's just the way that it's retold by this one's wife, and what actually happened was she did meet these people, but she met them at a shelter, or that she met them as part of the relief effort. Albeit, from what we've seen, and we know that this one's wife always liked to get it out there to demonstrate what she's been doing, when she was at Pasadena, all we saw her was hugging an employee, wandering around with the mayor, and then handing out food next to Gavin Newsom's wife. And Altadena, we just saw her turning up looking like a bag lady, pestering young girls for hugs in parking lots. Thus, it is rather strange to suggest that she was able to speak to these individuals. Furthermore, the recounting of the tale has something off about it, because this one's wife refers to the fact that the washing machine or dryer were reduced to ashes. They're made of metal. They wouldn't be reduced to ashes. Although the fire did burn hot and intensely, instead you'd have been left with the shell of the appliances scorched and burned, rather than necessarily be left with ashes. Is this error in the telling of the tale because it never actually happened? Possibly. Again, in order to be balanced, it might just be that this is the exaggeration of this one's wife as she recounts the tale, erroneously describing it as having burnt to ashes, forgetting that that couldn't be the case, because, of course, so much around was burnt to ashes. And therefore, it might just be an error in the recalling of something that actually occurred. The other aspect of this is that she is a narcissist, which means that she may well bend the truth, manufacture the truth for the purposes of the pursuit of the prime aims. This presents three potential scenarios. Remember, the narcissist will utilize the truth as you understand it to be, sometimes a half-truth, and sometimes nowhere near the truth. There are instances where the narcissist will use the truth of what has occurred because that's beneficial to them. Narcissists don't lie all of the time. That stated, narcissists have a higher preponderance of lying as a consequence of the demands and needs of their narcissism. Three potential scenarios present themselves. The first is that she did actually meet the mother and the teenager. This took place presumably at one of the relief efforts, and that in so doing, her narcissism then used the tragedy for the pursuit of the prime aims and then caused her to publicise it thereafter, as I detailed in the previous video. The second option is that she didn't meet anybody at all who had this tale with regard to the Billie Eilish t-shirt, and instead made up this story of meeting them and obtained merchandise utilising that pretense for the purposes of demonstrating how well connected she is and how apparently kind she is. We've seen the merchandise, so we know that that exists. It's not a case that this one's wife claims she got the merchandise or the signed item or the lunchbox. That has been shown in the video. So we know that much exists. But we, of course, have not seen the conversation that purportedly took place between her, the mother, and the daughter. And that could well be manufactured. Now, you might think to yourself, why on earth would somebody go to the lengths of contacting celebrities to try and get to another celebrity to get some merchandise for somebody that doesn't exist? Simple. If that enables the narcissist to assert control over a wide number of people, for instance, 2.7 million views, receive fuel by way of people's responses to that and media coverage, and to manage their facade, it's well worth doing. The third scenario is she didn't meet anybody and she didn't contact anybody, that she didn't send messages to Adam Levine or Bahati. It would be hilarious if one of those individuals went on social media and stated, "I don't know what she's talking about." There's the potential for Adam Levine to throw a spanner in the works by virtue of what he is. If you would like to know more about that, search amongst my videos for my short series about Adam Levine when I analysed him with regard to the affair that he had with a much younger lady. But it might be the case that this one's wife didn't meet anybody, didn't contact anybody, and she just ordered the merchandise herself to make it look like she cares. Again, it's not beyond the realms of possibility for a narcissist to behave that way in order to pursue the prime aims. Remember, it's all about the prime aims, and although this one's wife doesn't know that that's what she seeks, her narcissism does, and it will cause individuals to behave in outlandish ways, to tell lies, to strip off, to engage in talking about having sex with 1,000 people and putting it on their OnlyFans, to run down the street naked, to engage in ridiculous behaviours to put it on social media, because the narcissism demands it of them. What are your views, valuable viewers? What do you think in relation to this latest activity of this one's wife? We know that her posting it to social media and being performative in that video is driven by her narcissism, and we know what that seeks to achieve. But do you think this is an instance where she's used the truth, that she did meet these people and did contact the relevant celebrities to obtain the merchandise? Or do you think it didn't actually happen, and this one's wife has just concocted this tale in order to make herself look good? Do you also think that she didn't even contact the celebrities and she's just making out that she's got clout in that regard? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.